Africans with African pride, fighting to attain our rights. One more, heading up for this nation to move forward. One make we can all unite. Put each man difference aside. Why can't we just come together? See some tribal wars and fight. Who knows better us do better? A source of collective insight may not be exposed to education, but surely know from right. Africans with African pride, fighting to attain our rights. One more, shedding up blood for this nation to move forward. Africans with African pride, fighting to attain our rights. One more, shedding up blood for this nation to move forward. Say, we need a motivation, teach how to be self-sufficient. No want to depend on no one for attainment of my brain. Oh, these words are my calling. Children crying white squad tears. Hunger rampant, harvest plenty. Ooh, oh, Africans with African pride, fighting to attain our rights. One more, shedding up blood for any nation to move forward. Africans with African pride, fighting to attain our rights. Praise the Most High God every day with your whole heart and desire. Lift him high, lift him high. Holy, 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 holy.
Hello, I'm Jesse White, Illinois Secretary of State.
This is Danielle Mitchell with Average Black Girl.
Hey, this is Don from Our Voice.
This is Jeff Badu from Badu Tax Services.
My name is Agbe Dima.
My name is Olivier Kamanzi.
This is Chateau.
My name is Eme Adibe.
And you're listening to Progressive Mind.
Progressive Mind.
Progressive Minds with your host, Alinko, on WGHC 98.3.
It's every Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. on WGHC 98.3 FM.
This is Senna, host of Progressive Minds. You can also call me Alinko. Join me every Tuesday between 7 to 9 p.m. Central Time. We'll be coming your way with topical issues that pertain to our community, issues that relate to you and I. Join the #1 community building show in the entire world as we seek to uplift our community. If you're outside the range, just download the TuneIn app on Google Play Store and search for WGHC. If you're an Apple user, just go to your App Store and download WGHC app. You can also ring 563-999-3221 to listen to us live. Search for Progressive Minds on Facebook, like the page, and turn on your notification. You can also catch us on YouTube by searching for Progressive Minds. Progressive Minds, to whom much is given, much is required. Hello, welcome to the Progressive Mind Show here at WGHC 98.3 FM. Your voice, your music, your station. It is a beautiful day here in Chicago. The weather is cold, but it was bright. The sun was out, and we're used to the Chicago weather. You would have your time during the show to ask a question if you want to or contribute to this discussion. We would be giving the phone lines out. If you are outside the range, you may please download the app for iPhone users, and then Android users can download TuneIn app and search for WGHC FM. On Facebook, search for Progressive Minds, like the page. Share the page when you come on so that what we're going to be talking about today will be beneficial to a lot of people. We are talking about Black fatherhood in America. As you may have seen on social media, two of our guests has been caught up in traffic. We are praying for their safety and the safe arrival here at the studios of WGHC. We are blessed to have two wonderful men who are sitting here in the presence of Stephen Hodge and then Aaron Delma. And in a short while, I'll be going a little bit into their background and what they are here today. In the meantime, though, we will go straight to Captain Mike, who is going to give us the health, fitness, and sports update. Captain Mike, do we have you on the line?
Yes, you do.
Please go ahead.
All right, good evening, guys. Hey, right now, anybody who's outside can tell you we're experiencing colder than average temperatures this time of the year. Around this year, we should have a high around 50, so it's very cold, and it's going to be very cold the rest of the night. Going to have a low in the teens, but good thing we have light winds, and it's going to be clear. So tomorrow, we're going to have around 30 degrees as a high, maybe in the upper 20s, partly cloudy skies. Thursday, mid-30s, upper 20s. And Friday, lower 30s and the upper 20s. Going to possibly snow and some mixed precipitation, some rain, snow mix turning into snow later. Saturday, upper 30s, and it'll remain in the 30s throughout the whole day, and you may see a mix of rain and snow and get snow overnight into Sunday. And Sunday, we're going to have some clearing, but it's going to be cooler. Upper 20s, we might reach 30 degrees on Sunday with the clearing skies. And possible warm-up next week. We might get into the 40s, so looking forward to that. So speaking of colder temperatures, we're looking at for the health update from the Mayo Clinic website, frostbite, how to stay safe and what to look for, some of the signs to look for frostbite. What is frostbite? Well, that's an injury caused by the freezing of the skin and the underlying tissue. Any exposed skin, and as any Chicagoan will know, sometimes skin that is still covered by clothes, such as gloves, can still get frostbite. What are the stages of frostbite? Well, there's frost nip, which is just a numbness of the outerlying skin. The second stage is superficial, where we get a reddening, and your skin may turn white or pale, and you may get some blistering. But the most dreaded severe of frostbite is the deep severe frostbite, where you may get white, bluishing of the skin, and if it's not treated, sometimes you may have the skin that will die and turns black as that tissue dies. So if you do experience frostbite, make sure you protect the area from further cold. If your feet get frostbite, don't walk on frozen feet. And if you have pain due to the frostbite, reduce your pain with some ibuprofen or other types of painkillers. And if you do have severe frostbite or suspect severe frostbite, make sure you see a doctor. And if you're out in temperatures below 5 degrees Fahrenheit, start to look for these telltale signs of frostbite. And if you're below minus 16 Fahrenheit with the wind chill, because it can be 5 degrees, but then you get the winds that'll lower the temperature even more, what you feel, make sure you look for these signs. Now, how do you prevent frostbite? Well, limit your exposure to the cold, obviously. Stay indoors as much as possible. Dress in layers of loose, warm clothing. Make sure you wear a hat that covers your ears. Wear mittens instead of gloves. That way you can ball up your fist, keep your hands moving, keep the blood flowing. Wear socks that wick moisture away and provide insulation. And watch for signs for frostbite. And if you have to drive long distances, make sure you make a plan. Have some blankets in the car. Make sure your cell phone is charged. And tell other people your plans. If you don't check in within 30 minutes or an hour, they'll start the process of looking for you if something happens to your car out in an isolated area. Make sure you stay hydrated and keep moving, keep the blood flowing. And this is also important for parents who send their children out to wait on the bus stop for a bus. So if a bus is taking longer than expected or if there's a delay, keep your children aware of the signs of frostbite. So make sure you stay warm, you stay safe, and keep these tips in mind. And we're going to go back to you, Cena.
Thank you so much, Captain Mike. And you're currently in Chicago, sir?
Yes, I am.
Beautiful. And we're looking forward to having you here at the studios sometime very soon, all right?
Yeah, when it warms up next week, that'll be a good time to go because I'm not going anywhere tonight.
I hear you, man. All right, stay warm, and we will talk to you soon.
All right. Look forward to the rest of the show.
Absolutely.
Okay, have a good night.
That was Captain Mike. We would continue tonight's discussion. As you may have seen, if you are on Facebook, if you just joined us on Facebook, please pardon us as we try to. We had everything set out right, but looks like we're having last-minute technical difficulties with our headsets. So we would try and help our guest here for the rest of the conversation because there's a little issue with the headset. However, the show must continue. So we'll make it happen. Gentlemen, welcome to Progressive Minds.
Thank you so much for having me here today.
Absolutely. And so, as I said earlier, Jocelyn couldn't make it. Aaron, no, not Aaron. Jamari is also caught up in traffic. We're hoping that they can at least make to the studio safely, and we're praying for their safety whatever they are. We know traffic can be terrible around this time in the city of Chicago. But I'll start from my right in the person of Stephen Hodge. Stephen Hodge is the youngest of 9 children that was born and raised in Cabrini Green Housing Project. At the age of 16 years old, he was shot because he wouldn't join the gangs. He went to Lakeview High School, public school, received his degree from Northwestern College in criminal justice. He has a background as a personal protection. Well, he has a background in protection for about 13 years with Playboy Entertainment Incorporation. So you can tell the man has a lot of personal security experience. He is. He was also a personal bodyguard or personal security protection. He provided personal security protection for Donald Trump for 1 year. The man had been with Donald Trump for a year. If you have any questions regarding Donald Trump, feel free to ask him. He's also a martial arts scientist. Okay, we'll have to know what's the difference between a martial arts scientist and a martial arts instructor. Aaron Delmar was born in Palatine to Vic and Betty. He's the only child. You know how the people say, only child's spoiled child. We'll see if it's a spoiled child or not. But the man, if you look into his background, he has nothing that indicates that he was a spoiled child or is a spoiled child. But even if he's a spoiled child, it's good, right? He had a scholarship to Indiana University, Bloomington, and had also been an all-time judo performer. He was a three-time judo winner whilst he was at University in Indiana. I'm sorry, I have the writing here from my producers did not come through correctly, but I'll let you help me. Okay, sure. I'll let you help me. But you were part of the All-American Judo team in 2000. That's 2000.
I was on the world team. I represented the United States in the world team in 2000 in Malaga, Spain. I was a resident athlete at the Olympic Training Center and 3-time All-American at Indiana University.
Thank you for helping me out.
Local martial artist.
Thank you for helping me out. Yes. Apart from that, though, I know you have a wonderful son, Connor.
Yes, I have 6 wonderful children.
Oh, 6. Okay. When I was going through your background, for some reason, he was the only one that was mentioned in your.
Connor's the reason. He's the creativity behind why we started our group called Fathers Helping Fathers. Mm-hmm. It's a nonprofit group that we started here about 14 years ago.
Right.
It's a resource for dads and fathers out there that want to be more a part of their children's life, either unwed dads, divorced dads, things of that. So we start really working in the not so glamorous side of litigation here in Cook County, litigation all around the state, nationwide, trying to help dads work on their child support issues, help them change their parenting plans, how to work on anger management, so they can be a part of their children's life more predominantly in some underprivileged areas, but also in places that have a little bit higher lifestyle than other people. So it's a full, comprehensive plan to try to create that relationship between fathers and their sons.
Oh, brilliant! And Joseph, thanks for helping with that brief background of what you've done and why you were here, and of course the organization that you represent. Joseph, you also been, of course, having bodyguarded the almighty Donald Trump, and having the experience you've had in security and of course in martial arts. What else is special about Joseph, or what else have you? What else has motivated to become the man that you are today?
Joseph or Stephen? Well, growing up the way that I did, in the housing projects, I was able to see a lot. And then being able to see the whole United States and go abroad several times to like Thailand and everything. Once I became a single parent myself, I learned to take in what you're saying about your organization, that, I didn't have an organization like that to help me. Right. transition from a two-parent home to now a single-parent home, So this is what made me become who I am, now that I have two children that look up to me and they need a father or a mother figure, and right now I'm both. So I'm trying to let them see from my eyes what type of person they should become or try to strive to be.
What's the difference between a martial arts scientist and a martial arts instructor?
Well, a lot of people are into what they call martial arts. I train in martial science, bringing the body and the spirit and the mind all to one, utilizing that to be the weapon that martial arts can be. When I teach the young kids, and I tell them that in order to win any fight, you have to start with your mind.
Mm-hmm.
So this is how I train the children. I have them, anybody that takes my class has to take 2 tests. One is where I bring a mirror, full-length mirror, where it's turned around, and I'll tell them that they have to view an image, and the image they're going to see is that it's them. And what I'm trying to get them to see is that they're more than just an image in the mirror. It's deeper than that.
Okay. Which
means that that's what martial science is.
Okay.
It's a science of growing children.
All right. Excuse me, Aaron.
Yeah.
We know that there are challenges, a lot of challenges that are out there when it comes to fatherhood. Help us understand some of the numbers or statistics, if you may, regarding what the shape of fatherhood is now when it comes to the black community.
So just the African American community, black community, just like any other racial group, is having a significant increase in divorce in their lives. You have, anywhere between 55 to 60% of most marriages now are ending in divorce. But the studies have shown that specifically regarding fatherhood, when you have a father that's at home or even not at home or actively participating in the children's life, they're at a higher percentage for success in multiple different areas. They're less likely to do drugs. They're less likely to be unwed parents themselves. They're less likely to get pregnant earlier on or having children early on. They're less likely to get issues with police, difficulties in trouble, end up in jail. I mean, they all significantly have decreased percentages when you have a father at home and have that structure. In today's society, you're not always going to have the luxury of having a mom and dad in the house. That's just the way that our society has been changed. However, when you can have strong parents supporting you, guiding you, teaching the things from right to wrong, you have a better chance of success in moving on to a fulfilled life.
How has now Joseph? How was you being a father? First of all, what made you decide to say, well, you know what, I'm going to be there? Of course, we don't know exactly what happened, what led to you becoming a single father. But tell us what...
Pretty sure we know how we became a father.
Well, exactly. How was that change? You decide, first of all, what made you decide I'm going to be there for these 2 girls, right? And how has that changed you as a person, for better or for worse?
Well, first of all, I have a young girl. She's 13.
Mm-hmm.
My son is 10. And knowing, at the point in time of the separation between their mother and I had to go to her knowing that she wasn't in a place that my children needed her to be in at that time. So she and I sat down. We discussed, the outcome for the children, me moving back. At the time, we were living in Las Vegas. And I said, I want to take the kids back to Chicago with me. So we figured it out. We wrote it all down. We made it legal, and here I am. Now that my daughter's 13, she's now a brown belt in martial arts as well, and my son as well. But it made me a better man as when I became a single father. Mm-hmm. It made me a better man. It made me want to be a better man. I couldn't see now that if I didn't have them, where I would be. I don't know that.
Aaron, help us. How does people struggle? Fathers struggle to. Fathers struggle when it comes to like both sexes, right? How do you train? How do you relate with a girl child versus a boy child? That difficulty. Can you help us navigate through that?
Yeah, I mean it's a really good topic. One of the things I think that needs to be brought up, and I'm not trying to duck your question, but just like you brought up earlier, fathers these days have a significantly more challenging role in raising their children, be it a boy or be it a girl. And right now, there's not a lot of resources for fathers. There's a ton of resources for moms. And, at Fathers Helping Fathers, we're not anti-mom, we're pro-dad. We want to be there for fathers that are going through things like I went through, like you went through. So when you are in a situation where, hey, I'm going to be a dad, but me and mom, we don't work out so well together, right? I can't be with her, I can't be her man, but we're still bringing a child into this world. How do I navigate that? Or, hey, you know what? I'm getting divorced, and mom doesn't want me to be able to see my children. How do I go? How do I file the documentation I need to do? How do I create a parenting plan? Things of that. They're not very glamorous. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody's putting a pink or purple ribbon around fathers' rights. But there's a real need for it, especially in the black community. I mean, how many dads are like, you know what? I just don't want to deal with my child's mother. I'm just, I'm going to take off. Like, this is too much for me. They need to persevere. So if any of the callers are out there have any questions about fathers' rights, about how you can see your child more, questions on parentage, things like that, when we do the call session, I'd be happy to answer any of the questions and give them some resource on that.
But but again, can you tell us the skill?
Between the genders.
Yes.
Yeah, so there's a challenge, right? I'm a man. So when you're raising a son, it's a lot of the things you know how to do. When you're raising a daughter,
right.
You don't, in the beginning, I don't know about you, but I had to take a parenting class to learn how to change a diaper correctly, right? If you're going to change your daughter correctly, there's a different strategy than there is if you're changing a boy's diaper, right? As they continue to grow, now you're in the 13-year-old daughter.
Correct.
There's things happening with her body that we as men don't understand, right? My son, he's going through some changes. I have a 13-year-old son too. Those we can have a better understanding. So we still need to have those resources. We need to be able to reach out to other people and say, hey, you know what? This is not something that I'm very familiar with. How can you help me? And and also be there for other people and say, hey, this is something I can help you with.
Well, Jamari, thank you for coming in. You can pull the mic. No, the mic. Yeah, you can. Yeah, and then you can just get closer to it. Thank you so much for coming in. If you're watching Facebook, Jamari, thank God he made it. Through the traffic and everything else he has to deal with. It shows that the man is committed to the community and what we all care about, especially the subject matter we're talking about today. Jamari, welcome to the Progressive Mind Show.
Man, thank you so much for having me. Blessings. Thank you.
All right, Jamari, we've spoken to of course, introduced the two other gentlemen, but tell us a little bit about Jamari. I know you have an African background, parents background, basically. So just tell us a little bit about Jamari, family life, and you're a single father?
I am.
Okay, and then, of course, how the single fatherhood came about, and then we can continue the discussion.
Well, I'm Jamari Neal. I'm native of Chicago, South Side Chicago. I have two sons and one on the way. Blessings to that. And how I became a single father, it was just me and the mother, we kind of outgrew each other. And, I'm taking the challenges as they come right now. And just growing from where I am.
So you have custody of the children?
We have joint custody.
You have joint custody. Okay. Maybe the two of you can weigh on this.
Sure.
I haven't been in that situation where, the children are flipped, but I see that a lot. And
co-parenting.
Yeah, co-parenting. Someone also told me how they have to flip their children every day. Like every day, the child has to go to one, the other parent.
I can handle that.
Yeah.
One. So co-parenting is different for everybody. In my situation, I have a 50-50. I have my kids for a full week, then my ex-wife has them for a full week, and we rotate every Sunday at 5. Some parents have every other weekend, a couple of nights a week, something to that effect, or some have them all during the year and then a few times during the summer. The key is that both parents are being active in the decision-making. Here in Cook County, there's been a significant change as of July 1st of 2017. The law has changed, not only in child support, which we can get into if anyone has any questions regarding child support, happy to answer those questions, but also in regarding shared parenting. The old policy in Illinois, in Cook County specifically, was that mothers would get custody of the children, and then fathers would get parenting time, visitation, as they want to call it. Now the law says that when the judges actually look at these cases, and there's a divorce or there's a parenting time, they will have to be in the center, giving each parent equal amount of time, and then modifying the parenting schedule based on the needs of the child and based on the parents' lifestyles. So that's a huge factor. If you're starting out for mom having full custody and your dad trying to get time with your kids, you're already on an uphill battle. You're at the bottom of the hill. But now that we're starting an even playing field, you could say, hey, no, I want to be a part of my child's life. I want to be there every day. So I'm going to be at the parent-teacher conferences. I'm going to be there at every sporting event. You know what? I'm going to coach. I'm going to be a room dad. I'm going to go on the field trips. I'm going to be there to take them to the doctor visits. I'm going to help them with their homework. And you can integrate yourself into those things. And it's radically different now in the court system. And they're being challenged because moms aren't not just getting dads as a paycheck. That's what it's been in the past couple decades, right? I'm dad. I'm going to get one weekend a month, and I'm just going to send you 30%, 20% of my income, and that's it. And now that's drastically changed.
Aaron, let me add this, follow up with this quick question. I'll go to the other guys. In your line of work or your profession, and I know you handle or you are involved with. You're also a serial entrepreneur, right? You own other marketing, sports businesses, and stuff like that. But with Fathers Helping Fathers organization, which you started, how many or what other ethnic groups do you cater to?
So we don't discriminate on any ethnic group.
Okay.
White, black, purple, orange, green, gay, straight, bisexual, transsexual, we don't care, right? We're here to help dads, and if we can help a mom, we would too. What we deal specifically with is the worst of the worst. We deal with the nasty, the stuff you don't want to talk about. We deal with when a mom doesn't get what she wants as far as child support. She files false accusations against the dad and says that the dad's sexually abusing the children or beating the children when it's false. We deal with the dads that haven't seen their kids in 3 or 4 months, or mom absconds with the children and goes to a different state and they haven't seen their kids for years. We deal with the most radical. I mean, the stories that we get in emails on a weekly basis would break your heart. I mean, the way that the custody system in Illinois has been very bad. It's getting better, but it's still not fixed. It is so. If you're a dad, you don't even know. Most dads don't even know their rights. They're what I call disenfranchised, specifically in the African American community, because in the black community, family is a central source, right? God, family. Your friends. I mean, it's your nucleus of your group. When you start taking that apart, especially in marriage was never designed to be taken apart. You don't know what your resources are. So when you hear, well, my friend Bill got this and my friend Johnny got this, those are them. You're dealing with your own situation now. Your parenting plan, your relationship with your children is what you make of it. And the more active you're going to be, the more present that you're going to be, is a big deal. And you're struggling with trying to be a parent. And you're also struggling dealing with your ex. We deal with a lot of our dads that we deal with. Their co-parent is sometimes not right. Right? And that's a nice way of putting it. They're going to make negative allegations. They're going to try to have them arrested. I mean, they're going to do scary things. You're like, this is ludicrous. In the toolbox of parenting plans and parenting rights, false allegations are the first thing to go to. Allegations, oh, he hit me. You may not even been within 15 feet of her, but what does that do? They start going out to get temporary restraining orders. That's right, number 1. Beating on the children, number 2, 3. And, when the police show up at your door, you're scared. You're a human being, right? How do you address those issues? We teach you about that. How do you go and how do you convince a judge that you should be as equal part of their life as their mother? So we tell our dads, take a parenting class, right? If you have a newborn baby, the first thing mom's going to say is, you know what? He doesn't know how to feed her. I got to breastfeed her. You know what? No. We'll get a pump. You'll freeze the milk. I know how to defrost it. I'll feed my own baby. You give me the milk and you put it in a cooler, and I'll take the baby and I'll take the milk at the same time. Right? Most people don't know that.
Okay.
Well, how do you know how to change a diaper? How do you know how to brush their hair? How do you know how to bathe a child? These are real things that you can make a difference that will help you in your case to see more of your children.
Absolutely. And in the bit will let you tell us how people can get to that and have access to all that, and maybe some other services that you provide as well. But Jamari, what is the most challenging part of being a father?
I mean, I think it's the choice of you actually wanting to do it.
Mm-hmm.
And
But in your day to day, as you know, trying to be a father to your kids, right? What is the most challenging aspect of being a father to you? What would you say? Or maybe is it the feeding? Is it taking them to school? Is it providing for them? What is it?
Well, I think this when you have habits, because my habits with my sons are I take care of them as if the mother wasn't present. So if anything was to happen to her in the event that just the worst,
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to take care of my sons. I have the technical know-how to do it. So preparing myself and like in that preparation and having those habits where I'm not afraid to take change a diaper or feed the baby or anything like that. Plus I had brothers, so I had a helping hand in raising my brothers and everything like that. So and my younger brother, he had children before me. So in the event of just having good practice, I mean that kind of prevents poor performance in its essence. So like I just really practice at being a good father. It's an everyday challenge. You're gonna wake up, things are gonna present themselves to you. It's all about being resourceful. It's all about really believing in yourself that you have the tools that you can actually take care of your son.
Yeah, that's powerful.
So I don't think it's all in your mindset of how you really view it.
Okay.
I don't see. I know for some men it may be a challenge for them to they may worry because this person is your baby may be so delicate, but as they get older things change and a lot of things start to become a lot more easier. Things become a little bit more routine.
Okay.
Maybe you develop a habit and stuff like that.
I'll come to Joseph in a bit, but okay, I don't know. I think for on the, I may have gotten it wrong on the flyer too because I have it on.
You got it right on the flyer.
Okay, but I keep getting the okay. Stephen, I'll come to you in a second.
No problem.
But Joseph, Jamari, yes. Where is Joseph coming from, man?
I don't know.
All right, Jamari, what makes you want to be a good father? What makes you want to stay for these kids? Is it an inspiration you got from your dad? Tell us about your background. I mean, you have a African parent. I mean, parenthood. Half from Africa, half from here.
No, both my parents are native Chicagoans, but my great grandparents are from Haiti.
Haiti.
Yes.
Okay. Can you tell us if there's anything at all that wants you to be a good father and stay there for your children?
The reason why I want to be a great father is, I worked in Chicago public schools. I'm a product of Chicago public schools.
All right.
And we're working with children. You just see the lack of the father, the presence of the father missing. So on top of that, not only that is my upbringing from my grandfather, my father. They were great examples of being a father. I only wanted to implement or emulate them, in a sense where I just wanted to be a better model for them. Or a better model for.
Yeah, they want to hear you, Jamari.
I'm sorry, they can't hear me. I'm
sorry.
Let's talk up a little bit more. But I just wanted to be a better example, and I actually was fortunate to have good male role models around me. I was privy to getting around certain people that had sustained marriages, and my grandmother and my grandfather, they were deaf to deaf do us part. So I actually got a chance to actually see the roles of both, not only the female of the family, but the male of the family and what it was. My parents were married for 26 years. They're still great friends. And that's one thing, the examples and the quality of people that I had around me. That's how they raised me. So in essence, I have to do better. My ancestors, like my grandmother, they didn't have all these tools and things like that. They just made it happen. So, with knowing that, with all these extra things and, extra, technologies and stuff like that to make things so convenient for you, there's no way that I couldn't, be, a better parent, for my boys.
Stephen, challenges for you and what makes you want to stay there for your kids? I know you mentioned earlier, but if you can expand on that a little bit more.
Well, the challenges for me is, growing up in the Chicago area, I worry about them actually attending school, walking outside, playing. With my law enforcement background, working with the county and stuff, you hear and you see so much. And that's what my issues of being afraid for my children. It's so hard to let them even go outside in the yard nowadays, where you're afraid that there's going to be a drive-by or a gang shooting in your neighborhood, because we're on the west side right now. But what makes me want to be a great father is because they made me great already. Every time I look up in the mirror every morning, I'm happy with what I see. You know, I've done what I'm supposed to do for them. I'm there every day. I'm making sure they're doing what they need to do, with the mindset that I've already have since I've been 16. I've want to instill that same mindset in my children. So that's what makes me want to be a great father.
You have to want to be there. You want to be there for them. You know, I think that's the most important thing.
All right, thank you so much. All right, we'll go to Aaron in a little bit, but I just want to give a shout out to folks that have joined us on Facebook. Joseph Awinyoga is here. Ines Turner. Hey, Ines, I think I missed you last week. One of our favorite listeners. Thank you so much for joining in tonight. Asia Mendes is here. Lyle Paul, I'm going to read your comment in a little bit. And then Akia Mallet, Sarah Floyd Cox is also here. That's your daughter?
No, that's my lady. That's my wife.
Oh, okay, brilliant. And then you have Aaron, of course. And then who else is here? Rebecca Mode says, good job, good fathers. Great job, good fathers. So big ups to fathers. Some people are bigging you up. And then Robin Lee is also here with us. Okay, I'm going to go through the comments. All right, it's a few of them, so I'll try and read them quickly. So Asia says, I agree with Robbie, but at the same time, I feel fathers don't step up enough. They do the bare minimum and think it's okay. Then when mothers file for child support, now we are looked at as the bad peers, right? Let me see here. I think there's more. When they file for child support, now we are looked as the bad person. Okay, so that is from Asia Mendes. And then, of course, you responded to her. It says fathers need to know that they can step up and can be successful. And then Rabi follows up with a comment. She says the roles of fathers are very much ideal. The form of security a man provides to a child is promising. Growing up fatherless, I stand to say the worldwide theory that children who grow up fatherless suffer from unfortunate events characteristics is merely applicable to a small scale of people. All right, and then Ines Turner says, yes, Jamari, times have changed, and not a lot of people have had the family type of experience. It's so nice to see parents actually parenting. Okay, and then Dwight Good also says, Dwight Good. He says, hello, gentlemen, great show. Thank you so much. You're right, I wasn't here. Okay, all right. And then another comment I wanted to read before I go back to my guest is from Rabi Lee. She says, women are naturally deemed as the nurturers. Since beginning times, roles are now turning to where men have gained the abilities to be the nurturer and provider. But the key thing to keep in mind, the breast milk that's provided, that comes from the mother, etc. My point is the mother is where the natural nurturing begins. Okay, right. Okay, so we know the importance of mothers, fathers. And then Akila Mallet says, what type of legal action do you believe needs to happen when such of situations where the mother takes false accusations? Aaron, I'd like to answer that.
Yeah, so the first key you need to do is, if you're falsely ever accused of something, is you need to have documentation. Even probably before that, you need to stay calm, and you need to try to relax as best as you can in a situation. It's very hard to do that. It's easier for me to sit here in the studio and talk with you gentlemen, say, hey, you know what, someone's accusing me of beating my kid, and, you know, just be calm about it. Like, you're heated, you're mad, you're You get upset, but you need to stay calm under the situation because you're probably going to be dealing with some sort of law enforcement. You're going to be dealing with Department of Family and Children's Services, and they're going to be looking at you. Are you being controlled, right? Especially if you're getting accused of hitting your child and you're screaming and yelling and you're carrying on, it's counterproductive to what you're doing. What you need to do is document the situation. You need to write down as much as you can remember so you can bring it up later on because you have so much adrenaline going through you, you're not going to be able to really understand and be able to repeat back what the points of the case are, of what you're being choice. The thing you next want to do is you want to try to find an attorney. And that can be challenging a lot of times because attorneys aren't cheap. They're very expensive. But if you look at a lot of the local law groups around here, Kent University, DePaul, they all have free legal aid, and they will kind of start navigating you through it. When you're dealing with Department of Family Services, anytime there's a report written about you, you want to make sure to get a copy of that report for your file. So many times you have false claims that are against a dad or against a mom. That is actually something you can use later on in your child custody case. You could say, hey, look, here's a string of false accusations that mom or dad has put against me. I've got them documented. This is showing parental alienation. You're alienating me from my child. You're trying to create an environment where it's adverse relationship between me and my child. And a lot of times if you have a parental coordinator, a guardian ad litem, a 604B, which is another type of evaluation during a custody situation, those are things that you can use to say, look, I kept my calm, I kept my cool. This is what mom's doing or dad's doing. This is the reason I should have more parenting time because I can take the child out of the situation, deal with my ex as an adult, and shield my child from it. So I think that's one of the main things you really need to do in all these situations is that you have to put the child first, your own personal feelings second.
A question from Kim Park Gilbert. She says, why do they want to be there? Because it's their child in the first place. Okay, so that's a good enough reason? No, because a lot of men have kids and leave, okay? Yeah. Sometimes they are around, but they're not present. So the fact that somebody has, children, that is not good enough reason. A lot of times we see that in itself is not a good enough reason for them to stay. And
there's a difference between being a father and being a parent. Okay. Anybody can be a father,
right.
But to be a parent is something completely different. That takes responsibility. That takes give and take. Those are the challenges that you deal with. And what you find is once you start, you'll have a string of it. It'll repeat. They talk about certain things are hereditary, right? Alcoholism is hereditary. Fatherlessness is hereditary. If you didn't have a father in your life, there's a higher percentage that your children will not have you in their life, and so on, and your children will not be a part of their children's life, and so on and so on. And the chain just continues and snowballs and continues. And that's why it's so critical that if we can make a change now, the generations to come will see the benefits from it.
Absolutely. What changes do you think, now Stefan and Jamari, you can chime on this, what changes should we be doing, especially in the black communities, in the minority communities? What changes can we start implementing to have a paradigm shift? Because we need more fathers in our communities.
Well, first we have to get the young men and women, one, to learn to respect themselves again. They've lost a lot of respect for themselves. The discipline that we grew up with, my mom and dad didn't, you can't do that nowadays. These children have no discipline. It's been taken away, like you said, you have to deal with the acronyms coming in your house all the time, DCFS. When we were growing up, as I was growing up, I don't know, I might be the oldest one here, but I'm just saying, when I grew up, we didn't know what DCF was. We didn't have a cell phone and had DCF on a speed dial. We have to get these young men and women to, once again, learn how to respect themselves, learn some discipline, and become balanced, where everyone's working together instead of trying to tear each other apart.
Jamari.
I agree with the fact that discipline is evident, is something that is needed, but I also think it's a sense of accountability as a culture to take care of one another. I think it's a lack of accountability for one another. The family structure has changed significantly, and probably back in your days, you know, you had a community of people that would actually watch out for you and stuff like that. Now it's just, you know, kind of every man for themselves. It's like survival more than like a community love aspect. And it's just, for me, I really think it's just an accountability thing. Like the care, like how much do you actually care about your brother? How much you care about this, you know, your sister? Communication can be better. I think we don't take time to communicate properly, and that's essential, you know, because everybody wants to be heard. Everybody wants to, you know, to make their point. So it's a point of where it's active listening that's very important. That you're actively listening to your, you know, to the counterpart, because no one is more important than the other person. Let's just put that out there. We are equally essential to the growth of the child and the growth of any pertinent relationship that you have with a person. So it's those things, like just foundational things, you know, care, love, communication, you know, actively listening to somebody, you know, being there. You know, those things will help build a better community for us.
You think if we try to take our ego out of the equation?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, because when you take the ego out, you know what I'm saying, if you ask me to take my ego out, now you're taking Jamari out. Now you're just looking at me as the human being. Right. You know, I don't have to be this, you know, this personality or whatever. Your character really dictates who you are. So in essence, it's really showing that, hey, I can be here for you. I can be here for, you know, this child. I can be, you know, I'm responsible. Like both of these gentlemen are saying, like it's those things that's critical for like growth in our community. But I think it starts with accountability.
We were trying to look at some numbers here, and the phone lines will be open in a minute. Okay, I see some people calling. Please give us. We will open the phone lines at 8 p.m. Okay, so please give us a few minutes. We'll definitely get to your questions. But the Los Angeles Times National Center for Health Solutions gives us a few numbers. These are statistics for children under 5. Now, so fathers, right? Fathers who are not living with their children, okay, and the children under 5 years. So here's how the statistics go, okay? Fed or ate meals with their children. Now, the Caucasian community, 0. The Hispanic community, 8.6 fathers do that. In the black community, you have 12.6%. Fathers who bathed, diapered, or dressed up children daily. In the Caucasian community is 6.6, Hispanic 7.3, and the black community 12.7. Fathers who played with their children. Caucasian community 6.6, Hispanic 10%, African American community 16.12%. And then fathers who read to children daily. Caucasian community 3.2, Hispanic we don't have any figure for that, and then the African American community we don't have any figure for that. So these are fathers who are not living with their children. So if this statistics is something to go by, and of course this is the Los Angeles Times Center for National Statistics. Okay, you can look that up. Then what we can say is that, regardless of what people will say, that black fathers don't take care of their children, or all the negative stereotypes, these numbers show that black men are doing their best, to be in the lives of their children, and I think this is something significant that we all should pay attention to and be, of course, take into consideration. And then I think that fathers who are living with their children, the same stats, fathers who fed meals with. Fathers who fed and ate meals with their children: Hispanic 63.9%, white 73.9%, African American 78.2%. All right, fathers who bathe, diapered. These are fathers who live with their children under 5. Fathers who bathe, diapered, or dress children. In the Hispanic community, 45%, white Caucasian community 60%, and then African American community 70.4%. Played with their children: 74.1% for Hispanic, 82.7% for white, 82.2% for African American community, and then read children on read books to children on a daily basis: 21% for Hispanic, 30% for white Caucasian, and then 34.9 for African American community. So I think the numbers is not looking too bad. I think, of course, it's not. I wouldn't even say too bad. The numbers look encouraging for fathers in the African American community. Of course, there are challenges, but we know we ought to do more. It's about 8 minutes to the top of the hour, and we will take a short commercial break when it's 8 p.m. Before that, a few of you have been trying to call. Please bear with us. You can ring in after 8 p.m. and the numbers will be given out. But some folks have joined us on Facebook, and I'm going to just give them a shout out. Anthony, Rudy, Harris Cross is here. Sierra Miller also joined us. We would read Daniela Walters. She says, Daniela Walters says, hello, my name is Brandy Walters. I attend Kennedy King School. My question would be, is there any help for fathers that take care of their child, but still gets put on child support?
Yeah, I can answer that question if you want. So it's a really great question. It's something that happens a lot right now. As of July 1st, 2017 in Illinois, it's based on shared parenting. Child support is now based on shared parenting. So what you're looking for are overnights. So if you're the dad and you're the person that has more than half of the overnights, you'll be most likely the recipient of the child support. And what they do now is called cost sharing. This is a new way of calculating child support. The old system used to be for one child, you would pay 18%, two child, 22%, three child, 32%. Now what they do is they take a look at both parents, how much mom makes, how much dad makes, and then how many overnights each of the parents have with the children. And then they put it into a calculation that takes a lot of national averages, and it spits out a number, how much mom's paying, how much dad's paying. And if you actually go on Department of Child and Family Services in Illinois, and you can plug your income and you can plug mom's income in, and it'll spit out a number for you so you can tell you what your child support's going to be. If you're the dad or the mom who is primarily having the overnights and taking care of the children, the Illinois Department of Family Services will work on your behalf. And you can also, you don't need to hire an attorney to do this. You can go there and they can fill out the appropriate paperwork. And again, like I said, moms or dads. A lot of dads don't know that they can do this. This is a big deal. They can go and file for child support, and they will be given an administrative hearing. They will be then awarded child support, and the other parent will be responsible for making that payment or having deducted from their check. It's more usual and common now. A lot of times, 10 years ago, you weren't seeing a whole lot of dads getting child support. Now the needle has been moved, and more are getting that. But the key is education, and I think it's one topic that we talked about a little bit. I know Jamari talked about it. You need to know what your rights are. You need to know that you have equal rights to mom. You need to know that you have resources and that you should have confidence that you're not going to be stepped on and you're not going to be alienated from your child. Once you have the education, then comes the confidence. Absolutely. Then you know, hey, you can, a lot of times people say, well, my ex-wife called me and she said that I'm never going to see my kid again, or I'm going to be paying $5,000 a month in child support because she doesn't make the rules. Dad doesn't make the rules either. The court makes the rules. And if you know what the law says, and if you're educated on what you can and cannot do, and you know how to operate within the system, well, then you have a leg up on it. And those are going to be the things that are going to make you feel better. I mean, I can't tell you countless times when I've dealt with my ex-wife, she said a whole bunch of things to me and threatened me in this, and I don't get upset. And it doesn't affect me because I know it's just not true. She just doesn't understand the law. She heard what her best friend's sister got in their divorce, and that was their situation. That's not our situation. Well, my cousin got, she took her man, and she only gets him 2 days a week, and you should be lucky if you get 2 days a week. Well, that was them. This is us, right? I'm educated on what's going to happen here, and I know the route that we're going to go and what you're saying. And if you know that what they're saying is not accurate, then you're not affected by it.
Any of you want to chime in on that?
Personally, I went through exactly what you're talking about when I went through with my ex-wife. When I moved back from Las Vegas to here with the kids, she actually stayed in Las Vegas. So I moved back February of 2009, and then come December, here she comes. Not to make it a better thing, to try to throw a monkey wrench in happiness.
Right. Happens a lot.
And me being a better person, even tried to allow her space in my home at the point. That way she could take care of them during the night when I worked and I take care of them during the day.
And that's a big risk.
Mm-hmm.
You put yourself in a lot. You expose yourself to a lot of risk, potential police calls, potential. I mean, educating yourself on that and learning while you may be trying to do a good thing and you might be trying to do the right thing. You need to protect yourself in all cases.
Absolutely.
You can't be in a situation where you're in a room with your ex, be it a male or female, by yourselves. You need to have another person in there, and that person better not be their best friend, because the allegations will fly. You need to protect yourself when you're going to parent-teacher conferences, that that you're collecting information. You need to make sure that you find out where your children are. You need to go and make sure that you're getting their medical records, right? A lot of people don't know that. Dad's like, I'm like, how are your kids doing in school? Well, I don't know. Well, why don't you know? Well, mom says she won't give me the report cards. You go directly to the school. Unless mom or dad has got a court order saying that you're barred from that information, you're entitled to it. Your kid's medical records. Well, how's little Johnny doing with his asthma? I don't know. My ex-wife always takes him. My girlfriend always takes him. No, you need to call the doctor. You need to say, hey, I want copies of all the I want to know what medication they're on. I want to know when the doses are. I want to see when their immunizations are. You want to know why? Because that's the first thing that they're going to hit you with in court. Well, he shouldn't have any custody of our child. He doesn't even know what medication they're on. He doesn't know how to administer that medication. Mm-hmm. When I talk to dads that come into Fathers Helping Fathers asking for help, how can I be more a part of my child's life? I say, hey, you need to become a part of it, and you need to defend yourself. And the best way to defend yourself is have an offense. Have you taken a parenting class? Have you gone to their classes? Have you integrated yourself into life? What do you do with your child when you have them? Are you just dropping them off at your parents' house? Or are you taking them and doing something? And you don't have to go and spend a bunch of money. You can help them with their homework. You need to start creating a track record of the things that you're doing to be an integral part of your child's life so you can stay a part of your child's life. And you can use that in court when you need to defend yourself, and you need to keep yourself out of bad situations. Since you got me there, I'm going to tell you, the number one rule that I tell everybody, every dad, mom or dad that I deal with is, you don't ever say anything, you don't ever write anything, and you certainly don't ever text anything you don't want played back to you in court. Mm-hmm. And if you can't control your own behavior, you need to turn your phone off, you need to step away from it, you don't leave nasty voicemails, you don't threaten, you don't do emails, because all that will come back to you. So if I can give one takeaway to those listening at home, do not do anything that can be used against you in that type of situation.
What is that new app that they actually have when you start actually cursing?
And it takes it out.
And they cut you off, and you have so many days before you can call back.
So they have a... Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell you that. It's called Our Family Wizard.
Exactly. Yeah, hold on to that. There's a lot of information to share. I see someone calling now. We will take your call. Okay. We will take a short musical break. When we come back, we would continue the discussion. You will tune into the Progressive Minds here at WGHC 98.3 FM, your voice, your music, your station. This is the number one community building show in the entire Midwest. This is where conversation by conversation, we try to build our community. So your questions are definitely important. We'll be taking them shortly after this break. Stay tuned, and we shall be right back.
We're all judged by the same, still in there. Eyes is holy name. So let's all be aware of how we entertain. Angels unaware, for angels do move through man, still in there. Down rich or poor, black or white for sure. The only difference is whether I'm good or evil. Listen, friend, we see lots of different people in the street, wiping car glass window. This is what they do day to day, just to get a little food to eat. Oh yeah. And then you have others wearing suit and tie, work a good 9 to 5, and take it for granted that they're living a better life. I'll say the color of our skin don't mean a thing if we do good or commit to sin. We're all judged by the same, and Jah is his holy name. So let's all be aware of how we entertain. Angels unaware, for angels do move through man, whether here or from there. A man is still a man, whether him wear jacket and tie or him walk barefoot. The only difference is whether I'm good or evil. A man is still a man, whether I'm rich or poor, black or white for sure. The only difference is whether I'm good or evil. There's a middle class breed already. So are the things that matter to me. Yeah. But where the man and the woman builds their home, a man's gotta do what his family needs him to do. That when I come home, everything should be alright. So mommy, hold on, everything will be just fine. So I'm coming home, everything should be alright. So baby, hold on, everything will be just fine. Said I know that you miss me, baby. And I know the children too. So many times and I'm so far away. It's thoughts of you that carry me through my day. It's not easy for a man to live this way, but I do, that's why I pray that when I come home, everything should be alright. So mommy, hold on, everything will be just fine. So I'm coming home, everything should be alright. So baby, hold on, everything will be just fine. Yeah, hold on. Hold on. You got to hold on. You just turn. Hold on. So mommy, hold on, everything will be just fine. So I'm coming home, everything should be alright. So baby, hold on.
Welcome back to the Progressive Mind Show with your host, Alinko. We are talking about fatherhood in Black America. The conversation has been interesting so far. So now if you want to call in and ask a question or contribute, it's 773-942-7167. 773-942-7167. A ton of you have posted your questions on Facebook, so we're going to try to go through a lot of them. We only have a few minutes to wrap up, not wrap up, but continue with the conversation. So please bear with us. When you call in, try and make your question snappy. Turn off the turn down or turn off the volume completely of your set. Okay, that way we're not getting feedback. Looks like we have a first caller on the line. Hello, caller. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Varmel Jones. I am a student. I just want to make a comment. Hello? 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 Well, I'm going to just speak. I don't know if I'm being heard. I want to make a comment. I first want to commend all of the.
Sorry, caller, we lost the line, and that's why we're getting that feedback. Please try and call back. We lost it. That's the okay. Looks like we have the caller back in the line again. Hello, caller. Please go ahead. I'm sorry, we lost the line.
Varmel Jones. I am a student. I didn't have a question, but I did want to make a comment. I want to first commend all of the fathers. I appreciate this conversation. Oftentimes, we hear mothers talking about their struggles because of the absence of a father. And we have professionals speaking on their behalf about what their rights are, being single mothers or, being mothers in this struggle by themselves. And to actually hear conversations from fathers talking about their struggle and their contributions that they're making and in the lives of their children. And I just want to, especially Aaron Delmar, I think the name is, I want to say thank you so very much for this very, very good advice that you're giving to fathers that I myself will be passing along to single fathers who actually don't know all of their rights. So I just want to say thank you so very much for this conversation.
You can go ahead and check us out at fathershelpingfathers.com. We have resources. We have an executive director, Dana, who's in the office every day. We answer emails. We'll get you in touch with resources that you need, parenting classes, attorneys, free legal help. So go to fathershelpingfathers.com. And if you do have any questions, those that are out there, I'm happy to answer any questions right here on the air. That's why we're here. We're dads that care. You got a panel right here that's ready to help.
Thank you so much.
Welcome. So you're welcome, caller. Thank you so much for your time. We have another caller on the line. Please go ahead with your question, Emma. Hello? 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 Can you hold on? Hello, caller. Can you please go ahead and speak? We are we can't hear you. If you're on the line, can you go ahead?
Okay, my name is Kwame. My first time calling.
Okay, please go ahead.
I think I just want to contribute about the topic about. I think you said the father important in the black children, right?
Well, we're talking about fatherhood in Black America. So anything that you want to ask regarding, fatherhood, it doesn't matter if it's black, but, we're focusing on Black America.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. Once again, I agree to you all. Okay, father play a big role in kids' life, especially if, but one thing the woman should know.
Hello, caller.
Yes.
Please go ahead with your question.
Hello, yes. My name's Miranda Atkinson, and I'm a student. For Mr. Stephen Hodge, you stated that you were raised in the Capri Green area. I also was raised in that area, and my question to you is, did you get in trouble? Is that what made you pursue the field of the martial science instructor? And another question I wanted to state to you was, since time has changed now, I'm also an older person, or should I say seasoned? Well, I'm 52. And back then when I was going to school, they had discipline in school now that they have taken it out. Do you think they need to put discipline back in schools now since the communities don't seem to be as close or helping out
caller.
the family?
Yeah, he's going to answer your question, okay?
Okay.
Well, no, I didn't get in trouble. I kind of try to stay myself out of trouble. I use sports to keep myself away from trouble growing up in Cabrini. As you knew, we used to have in the field the Olympics and things to that. I played baseball. I played football. And to your second part of your question, yes, I think discipline should be brought back to schools, but a different set of discipline, not the discipline we grew up with, because our children nowadays are not the same as we were when we grew up. But yes, discipline is definitely needed in schools because without the discipline, our classrooms are being run amok. Our children are not learning. So as we already know, our children are not learning at the rate that they should be. And I think we need to work on that.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much, caller. We hope you keep listening and keep contributing to the show. We really appreciate your contribution and your question.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have another caller on the line. Hello, caller. Yes, can you please go ahead with your question?
Do you think most of the being in a relationship because they're staying for the kids? Do you think that's where the problem comes from?
Do you want to ask your question again, because I think we missed some parts?
I said, do you think that the major problem is that both of the parents try to stay in a relationship because of the kids?
The question is that does she think it's healthy for both parents to stay in a relationship solely for the point of the kids? I think it's a great question. I think that's something that people are facing every day when they have children and they're looking at, is divorce the right move for us? I think that it's about being authentic. And if kids and your partner are going to know when you're faking it. And if you have an environment at home that you're faking it just to get through the day because you're trying to help your kids, I think that you're counterproductive in that. Yes. You need to have a relationship with your partner, because that's your partner, that works for you. And if you're staying with somebody just because you have a child together, well, that seems great. Sometimes you're going to grow to resent that person. And I'm not telling you to go break up with your partner. Let me clarify that right now. Every couple has hardships, but you need to be in a relationship that's authentic. You need to, if it's not working out for you, if it's not a healthy relationship, if it's counterproductive, then you have to make some tough decisions. But just physically being in the same household is not always conducive to having a happy and fruitful relationship and family. John, I know what you guys think.
Well, Les Brown always said if you're not living together, then you're actually dying together. So you don't want to die with the person that you're living with. It's not always the best thing, because one, the children actually see those unhappy times, like you said. So it's important that you show them that you guys can communicate and still have an effective relationship with them. Show them that they're loved. Show them that they're appreciated. And this doesn't, like a lot of times with kids, they think it's them. They put themselves in the center of the problem, regardless of, the circumstances between the parents. And so I think it's up to the parents to actually, let them know, hey, we still love you. This is a disagreement between, your mother and I, or your father and I, and we made you guys out of love. And it's kind of hard for children to put themselves, take themselves out of the picture, because they're actually a part of the picture. So a lot of times they see themselves in it, but when it comes to the parents, making that decision, you have to make the best decision for your children, and stand in a situation that'll put you in a worse off situation, and showing your kids, communication that doesn't work, or that's not good, that'll ultimately harm them in the long run.
We have another call on the line. Emma, can you please go ahead with your question? And
Yes, my
please,
name is Emma, and I'm a student.
Hold on, Emma.
I'm trying to get straight to the point, because I had a situation in my family. I have I'm going to say, women can go to shelters, for whatever reason. Is there a facility where a single father can go to?
They can. The YMCA, I'll give you that one right there. The YMCA has many resources for dads if they're homeless or if they've been put out in the street. If you're living in your car,
I'm talking about with their kids.
She said with the kids.
With kids, yes, with kids. Yeah. This is one of the reasons we have Father Helping Fathers, and we're trying to develop more resources for that. There are many homes that, for women's homes, that obviously allow kids. There's not a lot for men, just because they try to divide the sexes between, they're not going to always house men with women for whatever reason, safety issues or perceived safety issues. Let's put it that way. If you email us at fathershelpingfathers.com, info@fathershelpingfathers.com, we can try to help you and put you in touch with resources that you and your children can go. There are a lot of social services. There are different townships within Cook County. A lot of people don't know
I'm
that.
talking
in Cook
about
County,
for men. I have a
men.
grandson,
I know exactly
and every
what you're
time his
talking about.
girlfriend puts him out, she always want to throw the kids, the girls, but they girls, they're 4 girls, and she always want to throw the girls out with him and stuff. And I was like, well, where can he go? Actually, I was just looking for an answer because I know women can always go to this place. But what are the resources for men?
Right. So, like you said, Lincoln Park and the YMCA over there is a great resource. They have a men's facility over there. We did one of our Father's Days events over there. Depending if they live in the city, Cook County has resources, the city of Chicago resources. If you live in suburban Cook County in one of the 30 townships, each township in Cook County has a general assistance fund and program that you can go to your township office. Most people don't even know what a township is. I'm from Palatine Township. Palatine Township and they have immediate aid. They need to put you up in a hotel. If you have your children with you, they can get you back on your feet. They can help you, give you some money to turn your lights back on. So there's a lot of local resources.
We live in Inglewood.
She said she lives in Inglewood.
So that's Chicago, correct? That's Cook County. Yeah. So your first step is going to be Cook County Family Services and applying for those services. They cannot discriminate against you. So Supreme Court has ruled they cannot discriminate based on sex for receiving services. You can thank Ruth Bader Ginsburg for that one. She actually pled the case before she was a justice. If you're male, female, any gender specificity, however you want to put it, they cannot discriminate against you on that. So just because you're a man and you have your children, you are entitled to the exact same resources through Cook County, through Chicago, through the state of Illinois that you would be if you're a woman.
All right, we got to go to the next question. So, Emma, thank you so much for ringing in. We really appreciate your contribution week in, week out. We hope to hear from you next week.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much. And next caller, please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Yes, my name is Eric Freeman, student at Kennedy King College. I have a question. I remember, I think Mr. Hodge was talking about sports helps him escape from, I guess, gangs or whatever in his neighborhood. My question is, do you think that having more male figures and using sports as a way of connecting with the kids, not just males but also females too, to get them out of bad predicaments, because I feel like using that could help them benefit in school as well. So do you think that could be a good solution?
Yes. That's how I deal with my children now. And I think that sports, for most people, is a good getaway from the everyday life, the neighborhood that they live in. It's a great escape, I utilized my bike a lot when I was growing up to get away from my neighborhood. And because I was surrounded by gangs, I lived in the Black Gangster Disciple building. To the left of me, I had Vice Lords. To the right of me, I had Cobra Stones. Behind me, I had Black P Stones. And I knew inside of me that I didn't want to join a gang. And besides, my mom and dad would have killed me.
Well, we have...
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much, caller, for that wonderful question. We have another caller on the line. Please go ahead and tell us your name and why you're calling.
Hey, I'm the mother of a kid. I have a question now. I'm going through some things in my relationship. I love the man, but I'm not 100% in love with him. But we have kids, and we have years of relationship together. We've been together now for 18 years. At this point right now, I feel like maybe we're just going through the steps to just make sure, because we do have a 3 and a 4-year-old. So we're going through the steps of just making sure that our kids have a one family household. Ain't no in and out, no anything. I do truly 100% still love them. I'm just not in love with them.
That's a really great situation to bring up and have in this discussion, because I want to comment on a few things. First, I commend you on making a commitment. Not every group, not every couple needs to be married, but a commitment is a commitment, and you've committed to this person to be a part of your life for 18 years. And anytime that you're in a relationship or you're with the person that long, you're going to have your ups and downs. I think everyone can agree to that. But a lot of times, and I want other parents to know about this when they're thinking about divorce. Divorce always seems like it's a good idea, and it's greener on the other side when you're thinking about it. You're like, I'm going to go back in the dating scene. I'm going to go and do this because he'll have the kids or she'll have the kids, and I'm going to go back to school, and I'm going to do this. When you're doing that, think about the other part to it. Think about right now you're having dinner with your family, or you're having breakfast with your family. Think about what it's going to be like when you're divorced. That person's gone, and your children are having dinner with them, and you're at home alone. When you're not there at each time, when you're splitting Christmases, when you're splitting Easter, or when you don't have them for Thanksgiving because it's her Thanksgiving this year, and you're going to have to wait another year to have Thanksgiving with your children.
Those are some of my main
Those are the things you need to think about. Those are going to be the challenges
does he
that
go
you have.
for Christmas,
because
or does he go for...
When you do that, when you make that decision to divorce, it's not always the decision of divorce that makes people hate each other. It's the process.
I feel like I'm married, but not.
Right.
Can you understand that?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I feel like I'm married, but I don't have the certificate. That's how I feel in some ways.
Yeah,
I love them.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm not legally
and
married either.
Some people, they'll come around us like, oh, y'all should be married. And he'll say some things like, oh, marriage is expensive.
Yeah, I don't care for those people either, to be honest with you. Here's what it is. It's your life. It's your relationship. Nobody can tell you what works for you. You know what? A piece of paper that you get at Cook County doesn't make your relationship any more than anybody else's.
Exactly.
What it is you're making a commitment. You're making a choice to be with somebody. You go into that choice knowingly and lovingly, and you're committed to that person and your family together. That doesn't make your children's bastard. It doesn't make them any less benefit to anybody else. It makes, so anybody that says that, oh, you should
don't
be married.
mean anything. That's basically like your belief.
Right. Those other people have nothing better to talk about.
Longer than some marriages. So. Great
minds think about subjects. Middle minds think about issues. Small minds talk about people. Okay, those are things you need. That's the thing. Other people, people need to spend more time worried about themselves and what other people are doing. I'm not saying marriage is good. I'm not saying marriage is bad. I've been married once. I saw how that movie ends. That's not something I'm real interested right now.
I saw that book. I know the ending.
You see how that book. I always tell you, right when I got divorced, people were like, hey, Aaron, I heard you got divorced. I'm really sorry to hear about that. So when do you think you're going to get married again? And I'm looking at him like, I just got a call from the governor, and you want me to get back in the electric chair. That's not how this is going to go. I'm going to find myself somebody that I love, that I want to spend my time with, somebody that I think is going to be a good person in my child's life. And if we choose to get married, so be it. But if not, if we're going to go habitate and live together, that's a lifestyle and decision that me and her are going to make, and that's not anybody else's input there. So, and fortunately enough, I'm lucky to have Sarah in my life to do that. And so it's a little bit easier to say that. But I think you need to do what's right for you. And, whatever other people say is what they say.
There's still love there. There's still care. There's still everything there. It's just sometimes we don't see eye to eye. And it'd be like, you know what?
Well, I got news for you. That's the same thing if you're married or not married or whatever. I mean, you could just be friends and you have those same situations.
All right, caller.
Thank you.
Because of the other callers on the line and the ton of questions that are on Facebook, if he's answered your questions, can we maybe take the next caller? Okay, looks like we lost the caller. Are you still here with us?
Thank you. Yes, I'm done. Thank you, because I got my little baby daughter, high school Kennedy King.
You go on and be a great mom. I'm glad you called in today.
She's telling me to cut off. She's cutting me off right now.
No, but we thank you so much for your contribution. We hope to hear from you next week.
Thank you for your advice, and I'll call you again.
All right, thank you so much. Bye-bye. Good night. Well, keep the calls coming in. It's 773-942-7167. 773-942-7167. We will take a few calls. Go to the Facebook feed and take a couple questions. Before that, though, we just want to let listeners know that WGHC is a non-for-profit organization. We are a 501c3 organization. We dwell heavily on your contribution. Okay, we are very much community-based. Our sustenance depends on your contributions to us. We need you to support us. Please go on our website now, wghcfm.org, and make a contribution to us. Because if you want to keep hearing these types of conversations, this is how we do it. Okay, we need you. So please go on there and help us. More so, whatever you give to us is tax deductible. You can always claim that. So please bear in mind the need to help WGHC. And also part of this Progressive Mind show is partly sponsored by Chateau Skincare and Hair Products. Chateau Skincare and Hair Products. If you are suffering from dandruff, or if your kid or family member or your man is growing bald, okay, his product, his product is known for taking care of these types of hair issues and skin issues, all types of skin issues. You can get Chateau products in Whole Foods in Hyde Park, and then other whole food stores. You can also get her products from her website, which is chateau.com. CHATTO.com. You can also get them from Amazon. And then partly also the show and the radio station is supported by Grace International Restaurant. No, Grace African Restaurant, okay, here in the Uptown area. If you want your jollof, Ghanaian jollof, and proper and good ethnic African food, you want to check out Grace African Restaurant here in the Uptown area, right by Montrose and Broadway. Makola Market is also here, and they support us. Makola Market is right on Wilson and Broadway. All ethnic groceries, grocery product that you're looking for, you might want to check them out. We're also being supported by Kaneshi Market. Kaneshi Market is also right here at Wilson and Broadway. So in the Uptown area, you are bound to get all kinds of African and ethnic grocery and dishes. Some of the comments on Facebook are very long, so we'll try, and there's so many of them, so we'll try and go through all of them. The topic tonight is fatherhood in Black America, and we have been discussing this with fine gentlemen here, Aaron Delma, Jamari, Neil, and then Stefan Hodge. I didn't miss it this time. I have called Stefan Joseph the entire evening. I don't know why. Maybe there's a Joseph out there who is on his way to blessing my life. So if you have some millions for me, Joseph, wherever you are, bring it to me, because I've mentioned your name in the entire evening. But yeah, let's go to this the comment on Facebook. So Robbie Lee says, so if the statistics show that African American men actually are in the lives of their children, why does America exploit them to be bad fathers? Seems to me like another way to create a veil of fabricating the truth in order to continuously tear down the black man. Well, we don't know. I think sometimes, even within our own communities, we chastise our black men or ourselves, and so we don't seem to appreciate some of the good work that the black men or black fathers are trying to put in. And so, in spite of whatever stereotypes are coming from mainstream media, I think in our own communities, we're not doing enough to, consider or appreciate, literally say, hey, fathers, you're doing well, black, that we don't do that. And so I think we should, it's something we can start thinking about. Tamala Banyan, hey, long time, thanks for, tuning in again, Tamala. She says, actually, I'll go back to her comment later. But Johnny Wu says, proportionately, okay, it's unfortunate a lot of black men are in jail and their children have to visit them. Could you imagine the trauma these children go through? Parenting is a big problem for these men coming out of jail.
Yeah, that's actually, I don't want to interrupt you, but that's one of the things that we deal with a lot is we deal with dads that have been incarcerated in the past, and then they come out and the system fails them. They're not able to get a job. They're not able to support. They have an obligation to child support, but they can't get a job. So what happens, right? They get arrested. There's an indirect civil contempt charge put against them. They'll have a body warrant. They end up back in jail because they can't pay child support because they can't get a job because they were in jail. It's a nasty cycle. There are more, the thing is, you need to have hope. And you have to understand that there are resources for them, and you have to want to dig them out. Gratefully, the internet is there. You can Google a lot of things. We can help you with resources at Fathers Helping Fathers. But there's a lot of places that will hire felons. And there's a lot of times you can't just blow off court. You can't, because it's easy. You don't want to show up. You have to actually go through the motions and go through and work through the system. Okay. So just because you're incarcerated, just because you've had bad things, doesn't mean you can't make a 360-degree change in your life and start going in the right direction.
Okay, thanks for that input. If you're a lady, of course there are so many ladies listening to us. I would like to get one of you calling in or sharing your thoughts on the effects of a father in your life, be it good or bad. And I'm sure most of the time it's good. If you can call us or share with us what that experience has been to you personally, how it has affected your confidence, your marriage, your relationships, your social lives, economic life, all that. If you can help us with that, because we really want to get the input of a woman. We can speculate and say this is how fatherhood helps women, but I think if you get it from a woman, it would help the discussion. So if you're out there and you're listening to us, please help us. Tamala Binian, she says, my husband was arrested because he whooped his son with a belt. He whooped him because he kept acting up in school. The mom called the police out of spite. My husband is a great dad and spends way more time with his son than mom, and is always at school involved with everything. Is always at his school and is involved with everything. He's been very involved since birth. Now my husband can get a job because this is on his background, and now he has his son back with him. I heard her tell my husband that she couldn't come to the school for a parent conference because her job was more important. This came out here. Okay, she's trying to say this came out of her mouth. He is well taking care of his dad, but when he's at home and he falls asleep in school, he never. Okay, I'm sorry, but. Okay.
Details.
Yeah.
I think Stephen, you got this one right here. I think you got it.
Let me speak on that one
Please.
for a minute.
Yeah.
First of all, like Aaron said, you guys have to be well informed about your rights as a person. First of all, you have to understand, in the state of Illinois, there is no law against corporal punishment towards your child. This is something that you have to realize. And once you go to court, as long as that child hasn't been beaten and bruised, and it's not like you're trying to kill the child, there's no law against corporate punishment.
What is corporal punishment? Like two of you coming together?
Here's what I'll tell you. I agree with you. There is no written law against corporal punishment. However,
but first of all,
corporal punishment means that when you're spanking, beating your child, hitting him with a belt, any kind of physical punishment is called corporal punishment.
Okay.
However, what I would caution you against is that corporal punishment opens you up for a ton of exposure, because the line of when it's discipline and the line when it's abuse is very gray. And you could hit your son with your back of your hand and not leave a mark, but it could be considered abuse. So this is the game that it is now. You know what I mean? Everyone, when we were kids, right, your dad would hit you because you got out of line. Your mom would hit you with a wooden spoon or a belt or a cord or whatever it was. That's the way things were. And we look upon those times with rosy-colored glasses. That's how it was. It's a whole new game now, right? It's a whole new day and age over here. And you can't open yourself up for any kind of exposure to be accused of any kind of abuse. Because just like you said, you can't get a job now. You get arrested, that's, for probable cause of abusing your child. It's already on your record. You're getting drunk. You're getting brought in. Now you're going to be in front of court. You're going to have a court date. You're going to miss your work date. You can't, these are things I'm not, you really need to think about, is there a better way to discipline your child outside of hitting them? Discipline itself means to teach.
Okay.
Right. And you really
all right. Let's go to the next. We have a ton of questions and things to touch on.
Go ahead.
How important is the family structure, which involves the father, to economic development and community building? Because we see, we've all have been observing on our streets, kids acting out, both young girls and young boys, and we talk about police brutality and economic deprivation in our communities as a result why our communities are dwindling. But how significant is fatherhood being in the life of these kids, helping in turning around our communities in spite of these other factors that we talk about?
I think as fathers, it's our turn to rewrite the narrative about, what is the actual stereotype behind what it actually means to be a father in the community. I feel like now, with our roles, I want to go back to what I said at first. Like, we don't have an accountability. So if you take everything away, like I said, let's just take away all the buildings and stuff like that. What do these kids have to do? What are they actually doing? What are we actually doing when it comes to just our roles? And have we forgotten them? Like, a lot of times, it's just a matter of people not having enough to do. Like, say, for instance, we have, vacant lots. We don't garden anymore.
Right.
What about people that actually grow food? That would give them something to do. Agriculture. That would give them something to barter, a skill, a trade. It's a lot of trades that's being taken out of the school system. They don't have wood shop and auto body shop no more. Those jobs are being phased out by machines. So in essence, what type of skills are we developing in our neighborhoods to keep our economic growth? How are we teaching the incarcerated that's coming out? What skills are we giving them?
So you believe that these are the responsibilities of fathers in our communities.
Absolutely.
To be plain. Do you think that fatherhood, or men deciding to stay and being play a part in the lives of children, can stop or curb gun violence, crime, and all that negative stuff in our communities? Stefan, do you believe that is possible?
Well, first of all, as a father, you have to stop being afraid. I'm seeing that a lot of men are afraid, and I say afraid. When I say afraid, I mean it in the sense of when any African American male stood up and took his place as a leader, they were assassinated by this government or by society as a whole. I won't say government, I'll say society. And we have to stop being afraid of that. We have to be able to step up and be accountable for me. I'm accountable for me.
Okay.
Anything that I do, I take responsibility for what I do because that's who I am. Like I said before, is when I step in front of that mirror in the morning, I'm happy with what I see because what I've done, sometimes it might not have been the best choice from 1 to 50 now, but it made me a better man because I learned from it. If you don't learn from your mistakes, you're going to stay still, and your mistakes are going to become your child's mistakes. Your child's mistake is going to become their child's mistakes. So we have to break that chain.
If a father has custody of his children, takes them to school, games, buy them, provide for them, and all that, can the mother, who he's no longer with, still put him on child support?
So yes, they can. So there's a couple different ways around it. So like I talked about earlier, in 2017, July of 17, child support changed here in Illinois, and I think it changed for the better. They look at the relationship of both the parents' income. They have a national calculation that plugs it into it. It's got some crazy formulas, but again, you can find this in the Department of Family and Child Services on their website in Illinois, or you can go to fathershelpingfathers.com, and they plug both of those things in there. If the father's income is say dad makes $400,000 a year and mom makes $50,000 a year, okay, crazy numbers, but the children live with dad, in order to bring mom's quality of life up for the time that the children are spending with her, they could allocate dad parenting. I mean, a certain amount of child support, so they have an even playing field. So the children, when they're at mom's house, can have the same quality of lifestyle. That's one way.
That's one way.
The other way is that the father hasn't gone and changed his parenting agreement. There's a lot of times when people get divorced and the dads are like, okay, I don't know my rights. I'm going to go ahead and let mom be, the parent, and I'll pay child support to her because that's what I see on TV and that's what I hear on the radio. And then mom has something happen to her, or she comes into hardship, or the kids decide they want to live with dad. When the kids move to dad, you have to alert the court of the change of situation. You have to file what's called a modification of child support. It's a pretty easy form. You go in, you file it. You give a couple copies to the court, a couple copies to mom, and then you go to the judge and say, Judge, there's been a change of circumstances. And then they will recalculate child support. And if the dad has more overnights and the incomes are comparable, then the mom will have to pay the dad child support.
Quickly, if the dad who's in custody of the children and is doing everything but has less income.
Yeah. It depends how much the disparity is between them. Here's the thing, too. A lot of dads don't know this. If you have a change in income, up or down, of 20% or more, you can file for a change of child support. Okay. So this is important. I don't want to cut you off. Right now, since before July 1st of 2017, most dads are paying 20 or 30% of their income to the other parent. Okay? Regardless of how much the other parent is making.
Okay.
If you've had a change, so say you were making $60,000 a year, and now you're making $72,000 a year. You can go in and have your child support modified, and even though you're making more money, your child support is going to drop.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know that, so that's a resource you need to go and thought. You can go on the website Illinois or FatherShelpingFathers.com, or you can go to Illinois Department of Family Services, look up child support, plug your income in, plug your ex-spouse or girlfriend, whoever it is, their income in, and it'll calculate your new child support.
If you want there's a lot of information out there, and if you want them, contact fathershelpingfathers.org.
.com.
Yes, okay. Sir. At the end of the show, we'll also give a number or email if people want to reach out to. But quickly, we only have a few minutes to go, like 15 minutes to wrap up tonight's conversation, which has been great so far. But I still want this question to be answered specifically. Can fatherhood, or fathers, men deciding to be fathers and playing parental roles, curb gun violence and crime in our communities? Because our communities are plagued with these things. But if we start doing more of fathering, parenting, right, will the situation help?
Yes.
Would that help the situation, basically?
Yes.
You think so? Jamari?
I think so. Honestly, it's going to be a unified role across the culture. It's not just going to be one, male or one male figure actually saying, "Hey, put the guns down." I think the wording on it in its entirety, you already exciting the word gun into someone's head or stop the violence. The word is just wrong. How about we unify, or how about peace or love, or to excite a different type of mindset. I think it's mindset first, but then also the habit of actually being there.
Okay. All right. I know everyone wants to respond to that.
Well, I just wanted to say this, is that, when you have father in the home, you have a role model. Mm-hmm. And that can go both ways. You could have a positive role model, and a lot of people don't want to talk about it. They got to have a negative role model, too. True. But having that parent in there is another person to say, hey, what are you doing? Mm. I have, my child, I'm 40 years old, right? My oldest son's 15 years old. I've got 20 more years on this planet than he does. And I can share what I've learned over those 25 years with them so they don't repeat the same mistakes I have. I know it sounds simple, but really that is a pinnacle move. Things that I've already done, I've already made mistakes. Learn from where I've erred and do this better than I did, and the next generation is better than the one before it.
Okay. If you please share the feed, okay? Because this is a wonderful discussion that people got to know. And so, Jemima Kumi-Plunge, thank you so much for joining. I'm just seeing you now, and thanks, Aaron. You've been answering. I think you answered her question, Jemima. Okay, thank you so much. Jemima, please share the feed for me. If you don't share, you and I have a case. Sorry, I'm sure I was offline a little bit, but what I was saying is that Jemima, thank you for joining us. Please share the feed for us, and thanks, Aaron. Aaron has been answering your questions. Please share the feed, because this is a wonderful discussion, and we need people got to know what is going on, okay? So share the feed in order to help the show and support Progressive Minds and get this message out. Don't get this information to yourself. Don't keep it to yourself. Please share the feed. Jemima, I'm still waiting for you to share it. You haven't shared it yet, so I'm still waiting for you to do that. Share it if you just joined us. Okay, quick question. A lot of times fathers think that, okay, I just have to discipline you. I mean, put on your shoes, right? And if I say do your lays, or eat with the fork, and the child is eating with his hand, right? So a father says it 3 times, child is still using his hand, and then the next thing is, I'm going to discipline you if you're not listening to me. But sometimes we also know that child development is such a way that at certain age of the child growing up, there are certain traits that we have to watch out for. So when a child is acting a certain way, it's not because they're being stubborn or being disobedient, but it's just because that's how they grow, that's their development. So I think parents and fathers ought to understand these things in order to address them correctly and not always using the cane as a discipline for everything that goes wrong. Is that correct?
Correct.
I totally agree.
Well, you have to understand, too, is that a lot of people have to understand is that the role model of father was always perceived as that disciplinary person. Whenever mom said, well, I'm going to tell your dad, you know, it's that disciplinary thing. But like you said, and it's true, is that we also have to understand that as children, they still have their own mind.
Right.
They still have their own perception of life, and you want them to grow as their own person.
Right.
Because they're not you. We're not them. I mean, we want to give them a road to follow. But we have to understand that they still their own person.
Someone was, I think a call was coming through, but we lost it. If you still want to contribute or ask a quick question, please do it now because we are about to wrap up in about 7 minutes. It's 773-942-7167. I would like you to answer this question for Inez Turner. She says, not sure if this was answered. I know someone who wants his kids every weekend, but one mom doesn't want to let him have the kid unless it's convenient for her. The other mom is actually talking about moving out of the state and taking the kids away. He pays child support to both moms. They are all out of state. What sort of rights does he have?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and give this to you guys don't mind. So this is one of the questions I get all the time. I get dads that'll email us and they'll say, hey,
quickly, if you don't mind, quickly.
My girlfriend and my wife says that they're going to take the child, they're moving out of town, I'm never going to see my kids again. So first and foremost, if you reside with your children here in this state, and you pay your child support, irrelevant, even if you don't pay your child support, the mom cannot move out of state without your permission or a court order. If she moves out, you call us up. We will help you file the correct paperwork. You will file a modification of parenting time. They will drag that mom and child back here. She can go to the court and petition to move out. You know what I mean? And you'll have an opportunity to give your point of view. But they can't just get up and go and take your kids with you. That's first and foremost. And that's Illinois law right there.
Okay, quickly, another one. He says, what is the process of fathers who try to get their child out of foster care?
Yeah, getting your child out of foster care. First, you got to get to the reason of why your child was put in foster care in the first place. A lot of times, the father was incarcerated, the mother was having hardships, had drug abuse, had some abuse problems by the mom's boyfriend. There's a lot of different reasons why. The first thing I'll tell you is this. You need to make sure that you have a compelling argument of why the child should be out of foster care and back with you. If you don't have a home yourself, if you can't take care of yourself, the court is never going to allow you to have your child. So you take care of yourself first. Then you go ahead and you file for custody of your child out of foster care. There's a lot of resources there, a lot of legal law groups that are around. All the universities, all the law schools have free legal help that you can make an appointment, and they can help you do that, or you can hire your own attorney. But the first thing you need to do, and most people don't know that, is you need to take care of yourself first. Get yourself into a position where you can be a successful parent, and then you seek to have your child rejoined.
Another question from Tres. He says people should not question. I think he has a comment. He says people shouldn't have children if they are not financially and mentally ready to be responsible. This is the cornerstone of all our problems. Do you all believe that?
If that was the situation, if people only had children when they could afford them, we'd have about 10% of the population. Of course, everybody says that. That's perfect. That's in a perfect world. But guess what? I have 6 children, and I think every one of them is a blessing. You know what I mean? All the children weren't made under the perfect circumstances of being married, and it's all rosy and everyone's perfect. But I would not have traded each or any of them for what they are.
Okay.
And you know what? The circumstances in which you have a child and the relationship of a child can be completely different.
773-942-7167. If you want to throw your question in real quick, thank you so much for the response. Sarah Miller says, right on, Jamari. Oftentimes when we talk about the crisis of black communities, there is a question. Where are the fathers? However, we have to evaluate whether the fathers have been understood have even understood their responsibilities in order to have a valuable presence in their kids' lives. I think many mothers, not all, think their children are better off without the fathers because the fathers haven't presented themselves as men who could improve the livelihood of their children. The whole playa mentally that many black men have embodied works against the foundation they need set for the family and for the community. Maybe I got that a little mixed up, but
you got it right.
I got it right. Okay. I think the playa mentally sold to black men and the independent woman mentally sold to black women has given us a false sense of power and has contributed to the crippling of our communities. Black wealth can be more easily built in a two-parent home.
I want you to answer this one, Jamari, but I just want to make a comment before you do it because I know this one's you. That's a bunch of malarkey. That's one person's opinion, right?
Mm-hmm.
Anytime that a woman or a male, for that point, either one has been scorned, you're better off without your opinions. You're better off without having your mother in your life. And I think that's a bunch of hooey. People need to become more reasonable. Right? Everyone has faults. Nobody is perfect. But to say that there's no redeeming quality out of any human being, unless you're a mass murderer or harm a child or something, or you're in jail, everybody has something they can offer to be better in a person's life. And that to say that they shouldn't have them in their life at all is in my opinion, ridiculous. But the question was you. I don't mean to cut you off.
No worries. I honestly, I can just piggyback off of that. There's no perfection. That's what we all striving for. We are all striving to be better people. And I think that's the essence of it all. It's like when you are actually moving or personally developing yourself to be an actual person, to actually deal with other human beings on this planet, because that's like pretty much the only other species here outside of, when you're talking to human, male and female, for those purposes. Mistakes are going to happen.
Right.
It's inevitable. It's inevitable to be perfect. So, understand that it's a learning curve. It's a way where people have to continue to learn and grow. And it's not going to be a perfect scenario. Finances doesn't always give you a perfect scenario. You could still be a jacked up person with a bunch of money. So at the end of the day, it really depends on the person.
On the person.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. Next after this is Straight Talk. Straight Talk is an Igbo show where they go deep into politics covering the African, European, and even American spectrum. So if you're a politically inclined person, you want to stay tuned after the Progressive Mind show. Ruby Lee says it certainly will help, but the key aspect will be actually getting through the rejecting barriers the afflicted young men have. This takes a lot, and not all men are able to get through to these young men because of the lack of actual experiences related to those of their own. Okay, what can be done to help fathers in Black America to do better?
Education.
Okay.
Right off the bat, education.
Education.
You need to know what your rights are. You need to know the how the game is played, what the county system is. Cook County is, if you've ever been in the court system around here, you know what I mean? You're in for a long haul. This is a marathon. This isn't a sprint. Just because something's right doesn't mean it's going to be adjudicated that way. You need to understand the things that you can do to prevent opening yourself up for exposure to negativity. And I don't mean just somebody saying bad words to you. I mean, you got to make smart decisions so you don't get yourself into trouble or the perception of trouble.
Okay.
So educating yourself.
Education. As black men, what do you think community, country, society, what maybe the partners, with the women partners, what is the number one thing that you think that men need to be good fathers, to be good I'm drawing blank now. Role models, right? And leaders in our communities. What would be the number one thing?
Like I said before, is the fear of being a role model.
Okay.
The fear of not being the best you can be.
Okay.
You have to get over that fear.
Okay.
Once you're over that fear, you're over the hump.
Okay.
Once you get over the hump, you can do what you need to do to be that percentage.
How do we get over the fear? Should the community help more? Should the churches, should our women give us that confidence? Can they help us get out of that fear?
I will ask the fathers, what is their why?
What is their why?
Yeah,
Okay.
your why. Your why is the most important thing in it all, because your reason why should surpass any fear, anything, any barrier that you are embarking upon. Your why is everything.
Okay.
So, like, if your why isn't strong enough, you need to reevaluate that. It doesn't.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, in your opinion, you don't think that maybe government has to help black men.
We looking for we're gonna continue to look for help when it's no sight of help. At what point do we get resourceful? At what point do we start standing up? At what point do you start stop making excuses rather than making things happen? So
personal responsibility,
absolutely, accountability.
Okay,
as men. So that's what I mean. Like if we are here to sustain, we have to do the things that's going to help us sustain.
Great. 1 minute, and then we have to leave for the next show. Robbie Lee again says, once a child knows the difference from wrong and right and loses their sense of innocence, I feel that parents should definitely have more of a lending ear to their child rather than trying to think for the child. This enables a child to feel respected as an individual and feel more compelled to be open with their parents. Okay. Johnny Wood says, great show. Thank you so much, Johnny Wood. Mary Mayfield just joined us, and we have someone joining us all the way from Ghana. Patience Aigba, thank you so much. Patience, please share the feed. Remember to share the feed. You can watch this program again on Progressive Minds if you missed it, or if you want someone else to see it, or for some reason if you want to learn more about it or get the information that we're sharing here, you can go back to Progressive Minds page on Facebook. It's all one word, Progressive Minds, one word on Facebook, and then you can get this video. You can also check out our YouTube page and get that information. All right, gentlemen, we're already late. Quickly, 10 seconds, your last words. We have to do this again, but your last words, 10 seconds, and then we out of here. I'll start from you, Stefan.
I just wanted to thank you for having me, first and foremost, and to let all your listeners know to watch out for the mayor's race, because I am also running for Chicago's mayor 2019. Keep an eye out, and hopefully you'll be there to support me.
You'll be here to talk about it.
Yes, sir.
I just want to send love out to the community, to all of the people out here listening. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone, for having me on the show. Thank you. I really appreciate it. You are not alone. You have resources. You have help. There are ways that we can assist you. There are ways that you can help yourself. Go to fathershelpingfathers.com for any questions, comments, concerns you have. We can help you with legal aid, parenting classes, fathers' rights group. Thanks for having me, and I look forward to making you a successful dad.
Oh, brilliant. Hey, we thank you so much. The listeners, folks that have joined us on Facebook, everybody that called in, the contributors, the questions, we love you. This is how we build our community. Without you, we can't do it. Stay blessed. Remember, to whom much is given, much is required. See you next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. Bye-bye.